Hey sunflowers, this is Osunbamike with another episode of Sunflower Seeds. So this is the second episode. In case you missed the first, just to let you know, this is a little podcast stroke recording that I do just with some words of wisdom, or seeds of wisdom should I say, based on life experience, study of the Odu, and experience within the isese tradition of the Yoruba people, my people. So today I'd like to address protection from haters. What does the Odu say about protection from haters? Spoilers are not as rare as improvers. As rare as improvers, improvers are not as many as spoilers. Cast divination for the parrot, the favourite wife of the king. I love this story. What you will find, and what I have found, is when you're aligned with a certain Orisha, or a certain Orisha has come to work alongside you or has claimed your head, when it's divine for you that Orisha is working with you, you'll find that as you study the Odu that have their presence heavily in them, you'll find so many parallels with your life. And I'd actually encourage you to study Odu and stories and patakis of Orishas that you're aligned with, because you will learn a lot. So in this Odu, the story is based on a parrot. The parrot was the favourite wife of the king. The parrot was asked to offer Aboru, which is a sacrifice, and she did. One day, the other wives who were jealous put something on her medicine which caused her tail feathers to turn red. And she was so embarrassed. She saw it as a defect, but the king, who loved her, said, I love you, this is your shining glory, don't be embarrassed. Furthermore, as if it wasn't enough, when the annual parade came, the wives of the king would dance in the parade. And this year the wives said, we shall dance naked. They wanted to expose her defect. They wanted to embarrass her. She became very sad, and she went to the king, and he said, you're beautiful to me. In fact, you will dance first. So the day came, and she was first in the parade, and she was feeling terrible and embarrassed, and she danced. She danced first, and everyone saw her red feathers. Orunmila, who was there, got his cloth of 16 Odu and covered her. And he said, we haven't seen anything like this before. All the people here have never seen anything like this before. They have it, they don't have it, and their lives are in disarray, but your life seems good. So, unless you're willing to give it to them or sell it to them, don't show it. So it was almost like her defect became something that was worth showing off. And so what happened in the end was she began to sell her tail feathers. The king sold her tail feathers. He made lots of money. She made lots of money. And they became coveted. So there will be many versions of this story, I'm sure. Lots of people would have heard different versions. I'd be really interested in hearing other versions. So comment below if you know any or you've heard any. I was talking about this story with someone else who I know who's in the tradition, and they mentioned the parallel between this and the feathers that are used ritually. So if anyone knows more about the feathers and significance of the feathers, I'd like to hear about that too. But what can we draw from this story? Firstly, haters are everywhere. There's so many odus and patakis and signs, and it will come up. Be careful of people, be careful who you trust, be careful of your haters. And yeah, you can do that to some extent, but you've still got to live your life. So I guess the next lesson is what happens when they do get to you, when they do cause you harm, or what happens when there's something about yourself, maybe it's your past, maybe it's a characteristic you have that makes you feel different from everyone else, whether it's inflicted on you by someone or something that you came down with from or heaven. What do you do? In this story, we're told to be proud of who we are, to see ourselves as beautiful, just as the king saw his wife as beautiful, just as Elizamari sees us as beautiful, the divine being, and to, in fact, be comfortable in our own skin, to continue to be devout in our practices, faithful in our practices, to continue to work the reciprocity of our religion, I won't call it a religion, of our tradition, I would say, and to stand on Ifa. Remember, in this story, she was covered by the 16 Odu, and what you think is your shame will become your glory. So this is a message, one, not to hide yourself, not to be embarrassed, but to be proud of who you are and in who you are. But it's also a message for those of us who are looking at people and wondering why they're different, and maybe treating them badly for their difference, or even trying to embarrass them for our differences. It's not good. We are made who we are. We are all different. We are all given our gifts and our paths. So let's come together and celebrate people instead of trying to bring them down. These wives, they made their own situation worse. The other wives, the jealous wives, by trying to embarrass her, they lifted her up more. So be assured that you will be lifted up from your haters, even by your haters, if you are, engaging with life and the universe in a way that's beneficial. And be assured that if you're a hater and trying to bring down someone who has done you no harm, who is favoured, that they will continue to rise and it will be of no use for you. Let's all focus on ourselves and our loved ones, and let's focus on the enrichment of our lives and those we love instead of bringing others down. The final verse in the Odu states, spoilers are not as rare as improvers. Improvers are not as many as spoilers. Cast for Parrot, who was the favourite wife of the king. Well then, Parrot's blemish became her beauty. They said, those who wanted to spoil me, they improved me. Parrot's blemish became her beauty. Orisha says he will not let people be able to harm you. I pray that Elizamari protects and guides you, that your Ori protects and guides you, and that all those things you see as blemishes become your beauty, and that spoilers will not be able to spoil you. I pray for an abundance of peace and healing in those who are spoilers. I pray that they will also find beauty and elevation. Ashe.